Things are going down in the story right now. What's going on? I'm John, and in this video I'm going to be documenting the next few days of my writing because slowly but surely I am inching closer and closer to the 3/4 mark of the story. I've been having a ton of fun writing these scenes as they lead closer and closer toward the climax. So I want to take you along with me during this super fun part of writing a novel. Let's do it. Okay, so it is day one, and I am about to write a scene which I'm really excited about because it's the first time the protagonist and antagonist have interacted directly in a little while, so this one's going to be fun to write. And I'm going to make sure that I'm staying focused and using what I learned from the following Stephen King's advice video. I'm going to make sure that I'm staying immersed in the story and I'm not going to let myself get distracted by the internet, by my phone, by any of that garbage. I'm just gonna focus on the story and try to get into a state of flow. That is such a fun way to write. So let's do it. I just finished up that scene I was talking about. It ended up being 876 more words. And things are going really well. I'm excited for the next scene that I'm going to be writing. And that's why I wanted to take you along with me during this part of writing the story, because things are getting very interesting toward the end here. And it's so much fun to write because all the big events of the story are coming into place and the tension is really high. So tomorrow we're going to be able to write the scene that I'm looking forward to here. And I'm quickly approaching the 3/4 mark in the story, third plot point. And then after that, we're basically just going to be in climax territory until the end of the story. So I can imagine that this writing is going to get very interesting over the course of the next few weeks. But I did a good job with following that particular piece of Stephen King's advice, staying immersed in the story. I didn't even have to use music today to get immersed in the story. I was just focused from the beginning and continued to stay into the story until I finished up the scene. And following with another piece of Stephen King's advice from the video, I'm going to be copying a Game of Thrones for another hour here. So let's get into that right now. So I've been wanting to go on this hike recently, but haven't really made the time to do so. So today is Friday, and I'm going to make the time and go on this hike. That might be where we're headed up there. That was the old school refrigerator right there. Walk-in fridge, not bad. So, I just got to the beginning of the trail. This is a relatively steep hike. Here is where the trail starts getting rockier and where it becomes dumb for me to walk with my camera filming. Today I'm going to start my day working on outlining some scenes a little bit. Because yesterday I made some changes to how things were going to work and they impacted the next few scenes. And because things have changed, I need to figure out what I'm going to write in the next few scenes. So that's what I'm going to do first. I'm just going to outline the major points of each of these scenes and then I'm going to get into actually writing them. So I just finished figuring out the structure of these two scenes and I'm very excited about writing these because things are going down in the story right now, and as we're approaching this climax, it's just going to keep getting more and more interesting. In the remainder of the time after outlining, I was able to write 905 words of this scene. I mean, this scene, it's not exactly like 100% polished. I'm definitely going to have to go back through and add description because I'm totally one of those writers who can end up with a little bit of like white room syndrome. But for now, the main structure of the scene is in place. The main events have occurred. It was actually really fun to write, and I'm looking forward to the next one even more. I don't want to give too much away, but I will say this about it. The protagonist is in unfamiliar territory right now with potentially deadly consequences if he makes the wrong step. So that's all the writing I'm going to do today, and I'm starting to get a little bit hungry, so I think I'm gonna go make some breakfast. As I've mentioned in the past, I'm currently learning Japanese. So right now I'm going to be starting a new show called Fruits Basket. At least that's the English name. I don't know what the Japanese name is. So let's do it. もう一度、何度でも、いつまでも変わることなく。Before starting writing this morning, I was just working on figuring the flow of the next few scenes. Basically coming up with the main idea for the scene, kind of an idea for what's going to happen. I didn't even plot out exactly what's going to happen in all of these scenes yet, but I just connected the dots between this point and the third plot point. So I have about 4 to 5 scenes left until the third plot point or the dark moment, and then I'm going to be able to start writing the climax. So I am excited for that. But just for today, I have an interesting scene coming up where my protagonist is being sent into unfamiliar territory, basically. And it's a dangerous scene for him because it could mean losing his life if he doesn't handle things properly. So that scene was really fun to write today. I didn't exactly write that fast. I only finished like 655 words, but they were good words. I feel like my writing's been flowing really easily recently. And I think part of it is that I've been taking that advice from the Stephen King video of staying focused. There were a few times I wanted to do research during this, but I just said, nope, we're just gonna skip them. We're not gonna look anything up. We're just gonna continue writing. And it feels so much better to do it that way and just stay in the story. And I can go back and fill in all these little details later. So yeah, the story is rolling along, basically. Got a little bit more to finish this scene up, and then I've got 4 more scenes until the dark moment. So the next thing I'm gonna do today is get into some reading. I talked about it a little bit in that video about choosing a genre, but I'm reading all sorts of fiction right now, just trying to figure out what I like the most. And I've actually had a few little developments in this so far because I think that I'm actually coming to some favorite genre ideas. The main genres I'm feeling really drawn toward right now are horror and fantasy. But I haven't really read any romances yet, so I need to give that a chance as well. I'm going to be reading It Ends With Us soon, so that'll be my first romance, and then I think I'll read a few more of those just to kind of get a feel for the genre and see if I like it. And coincidentally, that show that I started yesterday, Fruits Basket, also has a little bit of a romance angle in it. So once again, I'm watching the Japanese romance, but not the Western ones. Well, anyway. All of that to say that I'm reading a horror novel right now. I'm reading The Exorcist. It is getting pretty interesting, I gotta say. So I'm just gonna start a little bit of that reading right now. Let's do it. So overall, these last few days of writing were really exciting. I came to some new conclusions, taking the story in new directions that I find more interesting than where I thought they were going to go. And I also found it really easy to get in that state of flow during these last few days, which I am very grateful for. I know that that's not always going to be able to happen, but it felt really good to be able to access that state over the last few days and just enjoy being in the flow of writing, getting immersed in the story. However, during this time, I didn't get as much done as I thought I was going to do. I thought I would already be at the 75% mark in the story by now, and it didn't really happen. So in the next writing vlog, I am going to get to that 75% mark one way or another. It's gonna happen. So look out for that one in the near future, and also make sure to smash that like button if you enjoyed this video so that YouTube knows to share with other writers like you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. I didn't do this thing this time because I noticed I was doing it every friggin' time I go. Anyway, peace.